Listen to the Vibes.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Listen to the Vibes. And I'm very honored to welcome legendary drummer Neal Smith. You were original member of Alice Cooper's band, weren't you?
Well, it wasn't Alice Cooper's band at that time. It was our band, all five of us: Glenn Buxton, Dennis Dunaway, Mike Bruce, Vince Fournier, and me, Neal Smith. And about 6 months after I joined the NAS, we changed the name March 16th, 1968, from the NAS to Alice Cooper. And yes, I was part of the five founding members of the Alice Cooper band. I had like one of those little toy drum kits when I was a kid. I remember this is one of the few things I remember when my mom and dad were married, and I got it for Christmas. It's one of those little toy kits. And we also were lucky enough in the early 50s to actually have a television set. And I was always glued to it. I mean, I walk in a room, I walked out of the room, I was backing out. My back was always to the other direction. My eyes were always watching the TV. I loved it. And the bass drum was laying in the floor in the middle of the room. As I was backing up one time, boom, I fell down, my ass went right into the bass drum. And so I kind of wrecked the set. I mean, I was okay, but the drums were messed up. But so anyway, that was my first experience with a musical instrument, with drums. But then, after that, in grade school with the percussion and everything, and I really became, I didn't even think about it. What I want to do when I grow up, all the stuff I guess every kid wants to be, cowboy, sheriff, astronaut, a fireman. I don't know, but I just kept playing music, and then later on in elementary school, started playing the snare drum. Learned that for 2 years, and that's how it all began. And 2 years after I learned all the rudiments of snare drum and played in orchestra, marching band, just a snare drum, not bass drum or toms or anything, but all the other things you could play in orchestra and band. Then 1961, I got a set of drums, and that was probably another biggest, life-changing things that I ever experienced. And then 2 years later, moved to Arizona with my mom and my sister. So that I got to spend a lot of time on I had an aunt and uncle, my Uncle Avery and Aunt Margie in Ohio, that had a 500-acre dairy farm. I spent a lot of time there learning how to ride, rope, and shoot. And it was a great way to grow up. I mean, they had everything. They had cows, horses, chickens, goats, and it was a dairy farm, but 500 acres. I worked there in the summertime, worked my ass off there in the summertime, and learned a lot about work ethic. And you work on a farm. Anybody that's done it, and I'm doing it with I did it with family. I didn't get paid, but room and board as a kid. You learn an awful lot, and I think that's one of the most. And my Aunt Margie and Uncle Avery. My Uncle Avery played every instrument. He could play a bassoon. He could play a clarinet, saxophone. I mean, it was his son, my cousin Eddie, who had the snare drum that I learned to play on, and he loaned it to me. And actually, I wanted that snare drum because I thought it would be cool to have that. But somewhere in the 70s, the house that they had built had a big pond on the farm, and they had the old farmhouse had been there since the 1800s, and then they built a new ranch home. The ranch home burnt down and had all of their instruments in the house. Oh, man. So that drum got destroyed in the fire. But I did find one exactly like it on eBay, and I bought a replica of it, and I still have that till to this day. So that was a big deal. I mean, I played in a rock combo at Bucknell High School for the first time in early 1963. I think it was a New Year's Eve party or something. And that was the first time I actually played with musicians like in a rock band format. And it was, life-changing for me. And I didn't even think about it. I went to Arizona, Camelback High School, 63. I joined marching band, I joined orchestra, and some of the guys in the orchestra wanted to start a rock band. And I started a rock band, and that's called the Night Riders. we got a lead singer, changed the name to the Laser Beats, and boom, I'm in a rock band. And I've been in rock bands ever since.